research of talking to people locally and nationally, as well as a lot of articles have been written, depending on what association you're talking to. Entrepreneurship was up 60% last year.
Wow.
And they've talked to different type of economists and people with think tanks, and one of the reasons, obviously, is regular employed people in every different industry couldn't get a job. So finally, a lot of the people said, let me look into opportunities or create some opportunities.
Now, I don't want to be a troublemaker, but that's my job. So I wonder how that statistics compares to a previous recession, because we know that always during recessions that entrepreneurship takes spikes. So I'm wondering how that stands versus other recessions, because always when people are unemployed or they feel instability in their jobs, they decide to start businesses. Well, and I wonder how much of these entrepreneurs will last too over time. So I'd like to see some of those comparative statistics.
Those would be statistics, and again, the jury's still out, because when they talked to some economists, they said that that wasn't necessarily true, because obviously they would have seen a spike in employment. However, what I feel is, based on talking to probably about 20 people who had been unemployed and then have started some type of business, and what this discussion I've had over the last few years, that they reached a certain point that they interviewed for jobs, they tried jobs, they were out there, they did a lot of different steps. It wasn't happening. This recession was the worst of our lifetime so far. And so what happened is, traditionally in the past recessions, you get to a point, somebody gets unemployed, then after a certain period of time, they get employed again. Some of the people say, you know what, I can't get a job, I'm going to start a new company, or I'm going to start doing something. So for example, I had a friend of mine and client who was a CFO to some major companies. And every certain amount of years, the company would be bought or sold, or he would be laid off for other reasons, depending on the performance of the company. Finally, when the recession came, he started looking for jobs again traditionally. It wasn't happening. Then did consulting. It wasn't happening because a lot of consulting work wasn't around. So finally what he did is he started a consulting firm, being an outside CFO. And then that took off. And so there's an example of, if you, depending on what stages you go through, then you're going to create an entrepreneurship vehicle, or you'll have a job. But it's stepped beyond the traditional bounds, and that's why we're seeing more entrepreneurs.
Basically